Welcome to the Raise Your Bars podcast, where it's all about elevating your life one step at a time. With your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan. Together, we're here to guide you through the transformative journey of self-improvement and success. Have you ever wondered what behaviors and actions you need to change to achieve the results and success you desire in life? Well, you're in the right place. Each episode, we dive deep into the strategies, mindset shifts, and practical steps you can take to raise your bars. From personal development to professional growth, Chris and Al share their expertise, experiences, and the occasional tough love, all designed to empower you to reach your full potential. So, whether you're looking to make a big change or simply fine-tune your path to success, grab a seat and let's raise those bars together. Now, let's welcome your hosts, Chris Baker and Al Rattan.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of the Raise Your Bars podcast. I'm here with my good friend, Chris Baker. Chris, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Al. How are you?
Excellent. Good to hear. I'm fantastic, man. I'm looking forward to it. So Chris and I are investing in ourselves this weekend. And we're going to meet in Toronto to spend a day working on our business and vision and planning and crafting programs and so on and so forth. So, that's exciting because, we're talking about, Bob Proctor's book, Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. And we've definitely changed our mindset and our beliefs and our paradigm on the importance of investing in our own personal growth and development. And that includes investing time away from our families, investing money to get to a destination where we can partner and collaborate together face to face versus virtually, and even to the point of investing time and money on our coach by, paying to bring him in to spend a day working with us. So I think this is appropriate with, the benefits of changing your paradigm, which is what we're talking about today. We've done some severe paradigm shifting over the years, and especially recently as we've continued to invest in our own personal growth.
We have, and I think this is it's a good example again of you can't give others what you don't have yourself, right? Or you do yourself. So it would be hypocritical of us to recommend to individuals, to business owners, leaders, that they spend time and money on themselves, developing themselves, if we weren't doing that ourselves.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's another example of like John Maxwell says, where we should always be learning and always be growing, because when we stop, then what else is there, right? And we haven't got all the answers, but as we grow and our level of awareness increases, therefore so does the service we're able to offer others. And that I think is the key thing there. And it is a shift in paradigm, because it's accepting the fact that we keep growing, accepting the fact that there is continuous improvement, and that change is good if it's intentional and for the right reasons, right? It's good. And actually it's essential, not just good. Yeah.
And I'd just add to that, if you have any inkling in you, in your soul and your spirit, that, hey, I need to be more, I need to grow to step into all that I'm capable of doing, then you need to be investing in yourself personally, professionally, whether it's in books or podcasts or conferences or hiring a coach, or investing that, and then investing the time, not only the resources, financial resources, but investing the time and growing yourself. Chris and I going through this book. Chris has read this book now. You're probably on your third time through. Yeah.
I think
fourth time through studying it. I'm on my second or third time through studying it as we go through it. And again, I could be reading other books, but we purposed months ago that, hey, we were going to deep dive and study this book, because we believe that as we learn to change our paradigm, again, we can then help others change their paradigm. And today we're on chapter 8, and it's called The Benefits of Changing Your Paradigm. And there's a couple of things that he talks about in here. And one of them I want to bring up first off is mastering your time is one of the things that you can do when you change and shift your paradigm. And he goes, And Bob says in the book, he says, another area of life that will change as a result of shifting your paradigm is the use of your time. And he talks about what he does. And he says, I merely write down at night when I'm going to do the next day. And the next day I wake up and I do those things. It's all decided. That's a great concept. You aren't getting distracted by the peripheral stuff that's coming at you. Then you've already determined, hey, here's what I'm going to do. And then you set the task to doing it.
Yeah. And it sounds simple, and it is simple. That doesn't mean it's easy, right? Because it takes dedication, it takes focus, it takes intention, and it takes a shift in your paradigm. Because there is a high percentage of people. I saw this in I think I shared with you before, but in a senior leader class that I'm teaching at the moment, where probably 80%, if not 90% of the participants, when asked this question, so let me ask the question. I said, do you see time as a pressure, or do you see time as a resource? And 80 or 90% of them said they see time as a pressure.
Wow.
Time is a resource, but we see it as a pressure. And therefore we stress about it, and we think we've got too much to do and not enough time to do it. So therefore we worry about all the things we've got to do and how we're going to get it done. And what we do is we waste so much time worrying about it, then we never actually do anything.
Yeah.
And so, exactly. I teach and teach the sort of the priority quadrant and the scheduling and prioritizing of your tasks in classes, and people say it changes their lives. And it's similar to really, as I was doing that before I read Bob Proctor's book here, but it's a very similar thing. So you list out all of your tasks. Again, when you do the priority quadrant, you're prioritizing those tasks. Are they high priority, low priority? Are they something that only you can do, or something that anyone can do? And then you put them in the relevant quadrant. And then what you do is you schedule your tasks in your calendar based on that priorities. So, Robin Sharma, that I know you study as well, a very, very smart Canadian, talks about the 60-10 rule, right? So he would work on something for 60 minutes and then take a 10-minute break of some sort. Right. Because our minds, we can only really focus and concentrate on something for around 60 minutes. After that, we start to become less effective. So what I do in my calendar, and I only block it out like 1 or 2 days in advance, but I start looking at, I block out all of my standing meetings and my commitments, plus I block out my lunch break on my Monday through Friday week, my working week. And then what I do with the sort of the blank spaces in between is I'll look at the tasks that I've got to do, and I'll start allocating an hour, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes an hour and a half, but never any more than an hour and a half to work on specific tasks. The key then is when you're actually working on those tasks, you're only focusing on one thing. So again, Tony Robbins says where your focus goes, your energy flows, right? Exactly, you're only focusing on one thing. You're taking away all the distractions. At the end of that period that you've blocked it out for, you can set Outlook or your calendar up to send you a reminder. You stop what you're doing, you look at what's the next task, and you move on to that task. Again, you would probably put a 5 or 10 minute either get up, stretch, walk around the office, whatever it is in between. And then, I have my lunch, and I actually block an hour, and I put lunch and a walk. So I'll have my lunch, and then I'll go for a 25 minute walk.
Wow. That's awesome.
I'll be honest, in Florida, it is hot, and I'm business casual dress. So I've got long sleeve shirt. It's hot, right? But I go out there and I do that walk. Why? Because I need to discipline myself. A, I need the exercise. B, I need to get out of the office and stop, clear my mind, and then go back into the office, and I'm fresh, ready to start on my afternoon tasks.
So, Chris, can I ask a follow-up question? How did you discipline yourself to be disciplined in blocking out this time and scheduling your days accordingly? Practice.
Yeah. And well, two things. First of all, it's realizing and coming to terms with why you need to do it. right? What's your purpose? What's your mission? What's your goal, right? What are you looking to achieve?
Mhm.
And we've talked about that many times, right?
Yes.
Understanding your why, your purpose, your passion. um and I'm driven as well, right? I'm a CD on the disc. So C is, they're being very like detail oriented, organized, structured, um wanting to get everything right. I'm a recovering perfectionist to strive for excellence. I want to get things done. And then
Right.
the D is like I'm a decisive, I'm a doer. I want to get those results, right? So I take pride in getting those results. So actually,
Right.
the fact that when I accomplish tasks, it's like a check mark. I've done that. Yes, it's a mini celebration. All right. Now it could be just that I've written an email to somebody. Check, celebration. I've accomplished something.
Right.
That's why every morning I'll make the bed. I make the bed because, again, it's an accomplishment first thing in the morning. It's a discipline that I've put in myself that I want to do
Exactly.
it. And that came from watching that commencement speech with that admiral. I can't remember his name now,
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah. I
that,
have his book,
right?
actually. I have his book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's doing it, right?
Hmm.
So basically doing, Al, is what's the behaviors that we need to do and what's the actions we need to take. And if you
Right.
follow those behaviors and action, you get the results and the success that you're looking for. That's bars.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if we carry on here a little bit, Bob's goes on to talk about one other benefit of changing our paradigm, and he's actually about our creativity. Actually, and he says
Yeah.
our higher faculties are the creative faculties of perception, will, reason, imagination, and memory. And we've got to learn what they're for and how to utilize them, and then we become very creative. And I think that, again, that paradigm of saying, you know what, I can do this, or I can dedicate myself, or I can set aside the time, I can
Mm,
allocate the time to be creative. I mean, you and I were creating a
yeah.
ebook right now, uh, to give to clients, to
Right.
help them get some quick wins in their business. That takes time, it takes discipline, and it takes creativity, because yes,
Right.
we may use some tools online to help us create some of that, but we still got to put it together and edit and add our
Yeah.
thoughts and add in what we've designed with the bars method and the Raise Your Bars program.
Hmm.
But it takes time and effort. And again, I would go back, I would even say 5 years ago, I wouldn't even thought I was anywhere close to being capable of creating content for a program.
Mm.
And just how much has changed in my life to the point where now we can co-create all this curriculum we're doing for bars.
So why? Let me ask you a question on that, Al. Why do you think we're able to create that content reasonably easily now, um, with comfort, and it's good quality content? Why do you think we're able to do that when 5 years ago, like you say, you didn't think it was possible?
I think, I'll say a couple things. First of all, like I said at the beginning, we both spent money and time growing ourselves, right? Reading books, developing our thought processes. Again, we've also, partnered up, and the collaborative approach we have, Chris, like you said, he's that CD personality. I'm an IS, so I'm all over the place. Chris keeps me on track, right? he reels me back in when I get all these crazy ideas and say, okay, let's just focus on one thing at a time, Al. So that's definitely helped me grow, and understanding my personality styling, knowing that I do get distracted so easily. I know that I have to put away my phone, I have to put my head down, and I have to get the work done. So that's
Mhm.
helped me be more creative. But I think it's just surrounding myself with the right people, reading the right books, going to the right conferences, and again, the collaboration with you that's helped me change my paradigm to become a more creative person. It's been practice.
Yeah, I I think there's more to it than that as well, though. I think yes, all of that is true, and very valid. And the fact that collaboration, like we've learned with the mastermind, creates that higher sort of power
Mhm.
almost that inspires us. But I think um, one of the main things to me is that we believe in what we're doing. We're passionate
Good
about what
point.
we're doing.
Yeah,
The
really good point.
message resonates with us, right? It fits in with
Right.
our purpose and our whys of wanting to add value to other people so they can be the best version of themselves. So I think the the creativity comes because we take away the noise. We take away all the distractions and we look and we say,
Point.
what are we trying to achieve? And then that creativity comes. You know, and I think Bob talks about it in the book where we're all born with creative minds. You only have to study children to see that. Right. And then if you study those children as they get to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, why do they stop being creative? What causes them to stop being creative? It's adults, right? That tell them
Exactly.
not to
Yeah.
get wild dreams, not to get ideas above their station, not to get too big for their boots. Don't try that because you're going to fail and people are going to laugh at you. Right. So we stop our creativity. Most of us, right? Some will
Most of us.
continue.
Yeah. And I think,
And I
you know,
think
Bob,
there
oh, sorry, please
yeah, go on.
No, you
Well, I
go.
was just going to say it was in an earlier chapter of this book where, you know, Einstein was not Einstein. Thomas Edison was sent home from school with that note, right? I think we talked about it before, but he gave the note to his mother. It was in a sealed envelope, and the note said, "Don't send him to school. He's not capable of learning anything. He's done." Right?
Right.
The mother didn't tell him that. She said, listen, I'm not going to send you back because you already know more than they know in that school. I'm going to teach you. And she taught him, right? He went on to be obviously a genius. And then when his mother died, he found the letter. And that was the first time he'd seen that letter.
Yeah.
Now think about that. If she'd have told him at that time when he was a young child that the school says that basically you're not amounting to anything, you're not going to learn anything at school, you're not clever enough.
We wouldn't
Do
know
you
his
think
name.
he would have gone on and created all of those things that he created? Absolutely not.
We wouldn't know who he was today. So that's the legacy that he was able to leave because his mother believed in him. And I think a lot of the time we just there's people out there right now, and myself at one point in time too, I needed people to believe in me, right? Believe that I was capable. And I like, you know, one of our mentors back in the day with Paul Martinelli, he always said, you know, maybe you just need to borrow a little bit of my belief in you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That borrowed belief, which is good. But I think, you know, Bob also talks in the book, he says, once we do change this paradigm, one of the other benefits is productivity and effectiveness. And that ties in with this. It says, as we become more effective at what we do, we automatically become more productive. Right. We've disciplined ourselves. We believe in the BARS program and what it could do for people. So again, we're becoming more effective because and more productive in this because of our belief level in it has grown to such an intensity that there's no turning back really for us, Chris, right? I don't think there's any turning back. This program is going to help so many people, and we cannot change direction now.
We have a mission and a purpose, and it's our duty to fulfill that mission and purpose, right? And that is to help others and to help businesses. And when we say we want to help businesses, the reason we want to do that, obviously that's good for the economy, but it's also good for its employees, right? And so it will then help them to help educate and coach their kids who are the next generation, and will make everybody feel better. And I think that belief has to come first. And there was something you said at the start where you were saying to people, if you're saying to yourself, I need this, or I need that, or I need this, that need and that want are the two words that you've got to remove from your vocabulary, right? Because you've got to believe and you've got to be that. And I know that's difficult. It took me forever to understand that, because I was always like, you know, when we were doing Think and Grow Rich study with Giroux and the programs we've done with Giroux and stuff, and, you know, I'd be saying, but how do I do that? And they would be saying, let go of the how. And again, as a C, I find that incredibly difficult, because as C, I want to know the how. I want to know all the details of how am I going to do this? What do I need to do? Because I want to follow that plan and that process. Unfortunately, you can't. right? A lot of people will say, well, I'll see it, I'll believe it when I see it,
Right.
right? We switch that and we say, you'll see it when you believe it. And that belief, that faith in yourself, in the higher good, in source, whatever you want to call it, have that belief, and then
Mhm.
you will start to see the results.
Yeah. And I think, Chris, like we're already at 20 minutes, and I know we could probably go another 20 minutes in this, but I kind of want to bring it in for a landing with this comment. And Bob says in here, he goes, I read good books. I listen to good recordings. I was tutored by excellent people. I chose my mentors. And he says,
Yep.
I don't mix with anyone who isn't working on goals, who isn't going somewhere in their life. I don't want to hang around with people who are complaining.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we get into society these days in a lot of
Yeah.
cases is people are
Yeah.
like, oh, poor little me, or it's not my fault. The world's against me. I was
Mm-hmm.
dealt the wrong hand in life, when we really need to learn to take responsibility for what's going on, change our attitude towards what's going on, and push forward
Yeah.
in the direction that we desire to go. And I mean, for me too, I know that I've distanced myself from people in life over the years, because we may have been really close at one point in time, but we're in completely different universes right now
Right.
with our thought process or our
Yeah.
desires or our dreams. And it's difficult to do, but it really is important on who we surround ourselves with.
It's true. And I used to be of the mindset that, listen, I want to help everybody. All right. And again, Drew and other coaches would say, hey, you've got to narrow it down, focusing on who you want to help. I said, well, I want to help everybody. The problem is not everybody wants to be helped.
That is very true.
Not everybody is prepared to help themselves. Right. And you can't help somebody who isn't prepared to help themselves. You can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped.
That's
And
right.
that can be difficult as like we are as servants. We want to help everybody. We got to rein it in. All right.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so therefore I've learned to be a lot more selective about who I talk to about this type of thing, about mindset, about development, and so on. I'm fortunate now that my job, I get to talk to more people because I'm doing those classes at Disney that people want to learn, right?
Exactly.
Mostly.
Yeah.
And so
Mostly.
they're receptive to the messages,
Mhm.
and that's good. Now we as a with bars need to take that forward, and we do. But you've also got to avoid trying to convince, and we don't want to convince anybody, right?
No, we do
We
not.
used to want to try and convince people that, hey, this is the path you should be on. I don't want to convince anybody. I don't want to persuade them. We'll give them the facts. If they want to do it because they believe it's the right thing to do, then they'll come on board and we'll help them.
Right. Right. So what's maybe something that our listeners can do, because we like to leave you with some kind of takeaway or some kind of action step to put into place. So as we talked about the benefits of changing our paradigm this evening, maybe what's one thing that we could leave our listeners with tonight, Chris?
One thing that it's maybe a little bit out of left field, but it's something that I heard, and I've been studying a presentation that was done by a senior executive at Disney to one of my groups. And one of the things she said in there is about making time for you, right? You got to fill your cup, right? And again, Mark Cole and John Maxwell have talked about this. How are you filling your cup? Right? What are you doing to fill your cup, to re-energize yourself, to get you in a state where you can actually move forward and do something? Because until you do that, the rest of it is all useless, right? Because you're just going to implode. Now, filling your cup could be working out. It could be going for a walk. It could be going for a swim. It could be going to the movies with your loved one. Whatever it is, right? It could be meditating. But what are you doing? And how are you scheduling the time in your calendar to make sure that you do that thing?
That's good. That's good. All right. Well, there you go.
And
Go fill your cup this week, folks. Sorry?
That includes you too.
That includes me too. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, folks, if you are curious about what Bars is really about and how we help business owners ultimately engage their team, increase their bottom line profits, then visit www.raiseyourbars.com. Watch our short webinar there. You can book a call with Chris and I. Will gladly hop on a call with you and see if we're a good fit to work together. If you found value in this podcast today, share it with friends, family, coworkers, and thank you for tuning in. Have an amazing week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Raise Your Bars podcast. If you found value in today's episode, please consider sharing it with your family, friends, and coworkers. We would sincerely appreciate it.